Well, on Friday, the DNC held its annual Women's Leadership Forum. Speakers invoked the rhetoric of a war on women. I want to know how conservative women feel about the theme. Joining me, authors of the new book, What Women Really Want, Anne-Marie Murrell, Morgan Brittany, and Dr. Gina Loudon. It's so good to have you guys here.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
You know, your book is a huge hit. People all over America are reading it. I feel very fortunate. I get all three of the authors here all at the same time. So delighted to have you.
Trifecta, yeah.
Let's jump into this whole war on women stuff. Morgan, I'm going to start with you. Do you think the Democrats have kind of worn that out?
You know, it worked, obviously, in 2012, but I do believe it's getting stale. I think the message, actually, I think this year has been a turning point, not just for women, but for men as well, because everything that we've seen going on around the world, I think the attention focused on ISIS, I think the attention focused on the illegal border crossings and how that's affecting parents with schools, children coming into their communities. I think all of these things are much more important to men and women than the old rhetoric that the Democrats were using in 2012. I think people are a lot more interested than just $15 or $30 birth control.
Well, you know, I always thought that was insulting to women to make it as if they didn't care about good jobs, good pay,
right.
Safe places for their children to go to school and learn. And, you know, it seemed like it was a very limiting agenda. And I thought, the women I know are much more complex, much more intelligent, much more thoughtful, and carry about a much larger spectrum of issues. So, Dr. Gina, were you ever offended that the Democrats wanted to sort of limit their understanding of women's issues? Reproductive issues?
I am offended, and I hope that we can take what has been a negative and turn it into a positive. I'm hoping that the GOP and conservatives and even Democrats who've kind of seen that they've gotten what they bargained for with the old feminists and this regime that has sort of picked up that old feminist baggage, and that they can see now what 50 years of bra burning has really gotten us, which is an emasculated culture.
And a big fire, godless, too, you know.
Yeah. But we have a godless culture, and that's a big part of the problem. You know, there needs to be, and I'm hoping that the GOP can incorporate this into their message, a war for women. And it needs to be, because women need husbands, children need fathers, America needs God, and America needs godly women.
Powerful message that we're not going to hear from the Democrats, I'm pretty sure. In fact, Anne-Marie, this week, Elizabeth Warren tweeted out a message, and she made this comment. She said, every single Republican in the U.S. Senate voted against equal pay for equal work for women today. Unreal. How unreal is it? I mean, what is the real message? Are Republicans against equal pay? Because I'm a Republican, and I'm not against equal pay as long as it's equal pay for equal work.
I am very glad that Elizabeth Warren is excited and enthusiastic about something. If they want to talk about first world problems, have at it. I think that under their watch, they need to focus on something that's more important and that can actually affect us here.
And let's not forget who was Secretary of State, whose watch this was all under, and now the Democrats are going to nominate her to be their president.
That's true. That's very true.
And Morgan, to get back to this equal pay, one of the things that I thought very fascinating, we found out that among the women in the Senate and the Democrats in the Senate, they actually pay women less than they pay men, and in the White House, among the staffers,
I know.
they're paid less. Women are paid less, so I don't understand how they get away with that.
They get away with it because they have the media on their side. They can put this mantra out there. They can speak it anytime they want to speak it. I'm with you. You know, you look at it, and they're picking on issues that they think are going to divide this country. That's what they do. Women, I think all women have common ground. They want to find common ground, and I believe that they have it. But the politicians want to divide us in such a way for their political gain, and I think that's all they're really wanting to do. Because we as women, even my friends who are Democrats, we all have common ground that we want. We are all looking to help our families, save this country, and do the right thing. We all do, so we all want that.
And if you ask women on either side of the fence, and we try to do this, we encourage them in our book, What Women Really Want. We're told we have to say that a lot. What women really want, our book. What we encourage them to do is if someone talks about birth control or something like that, go back and say, would you be okay with the IRS targeting your family for no reason? Would you be okay with your grandfather not getting treated at the VA or having to be put on a list? Would you be okay if your family member was killed in Benghazi and no one is doing anything or holding anyone accountable for that?
That's right.
Stay with us, because when we come back, we want to continue with our authors. This is a phenomenal book, and it's a just runaway bestseller for good reason. And by the way, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I know it says what women want. I would recommend men ought to read it as well as women.
Yes!
It's not just a book for women. In fact, it may be a better book for men. After an increasing number of domestic violence cases involving NFL players were made public, Under Fire Commissioner Roger Goodell said the league is forming some partnerships with anti-violence groups and then will enforce stricter conduct policies. We're back with Anne-Marie Murrell, Morgan Brittany, and Dr. Gina Loudon. Great to see you guys back. And brand new book, What Women Want.
Really?
What they really want.
What they really would.
Well, I want to talk about what do women want out of the NFL. The commissioner got up yesterday. I don't know that I could discern any particular thing that he said. So it's important that the NFL has sort of a connection to women, not just to men. What do women really want out of this investigation and out of the NFL? Dr. Gina, let's start with you on that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, Governor. My background is in psychology, as you know, and what has happened over this last 50 years of old feminism is that they've tried to say that men and women are the same. And I'm pretty sure your audience can look at you and us and realize that we're not the same. But they've tried to force this belief on the public, and they've had the American Psychological Association, who's bought into this lock, stock, and barrel and gone along with it and said, yeah, there's really no difference between men and women. And the problem is that it muddies the waters. She hit him too in the Ray Rice case. So do we say then that that's the same thing? Well, I say no, because he's probably 200 pounds heavier than her, and I think that there need to be protections for women. Harken back to the Titanic. You know, it was women and children first. Go right on a subway today. They won't even give up their seat for women anymore. We need to go back to a day where men respected women and men were allowed to be the men that God made them to be, because there are divine differences between masculinity and femininity.
You know, and I'm so happy to hear someone say that, because if I said that, it would probably seem chauvinistic. But I do think we miss something when we understand that there's a difference between equal in value,
yes,
but not necessarily sameness. Equality and sameness aren't the same thing. Of course, we're equal in worth and value, but not the same. And as the French would say, vive la difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
You know, going back to what Dr. Gina said, we have to remember where our culture is going, where it's been going over the past decades. I was an actress when I was younger, and I grew up in Hollywood, and I saw the degradation of our culture. But there is a culture of violence. You look at the video games, so it becomes almost like it's okay. And now I'm looking at the NFL in a way, and it's almost like, well, they kind of swept it under the rug a little bit, like it really didn't matter that much. But it does matter. No one should be allowed to hit a woman like that. But women need to stand up as well, and they need to demand respect as well. You know?
There's got to be accountability for actions, and especially with public figures. And I think for decades, we've been seeing celebrities get away almost with murder, literally with murder sometimes. And instead of being punished, they're given reality shows. They're elevated.
Exactly.
They're given higher status.
Rewarded.
They're rewarded for bad action. And there's a time-honored tradition in America. It's been from the beginning. Do not hit a woman ever.
This is why this book is selling so well, and people are reading it, men and women alike, what women really want. Thank you all. Anne-Marie, Morgan, Dr. Gina, great having you guys here. Truly a pleasure. Be sure and get their book. You're going to love it.